It's amazing how he's got the crowns on the horns and not the crowns on the heads. On each had a blasphemous name. The beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear, a mouth like that of a lion. The dragon gave the beast his power, his throne, and great authority. One of the heads on the beast seemed to have a fatal head wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. I've never seen a seven-headed man. Have you ever seen a seven-headed man? We used to go to the little, I'll just call them midways for lack of a better term. They used to set up the little rides at the mall or whatever, not necessarily the fair, but I've never seen you go in there and you pay 25 cents or 50 cents to go see some freak show. And
I've never been to one of those. I can't believe it. I don't like playing.
Well, they had like a bearded lady and just weird stuff.
I've never had to see one.
But, I've never seen a seven-headed man. And I've never seen anybody walk out of the ocean except Captain Nemo in that movie when I was a little kid. Right? And, when James Mason played, or Barbara guy. But, so people are saying this is the Antichrist. The Antichrist is going to die of a head wound. But this is not a human being. All right. Now, I want to come over here to verse 5. And he says, the beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies, to exercise his authority for how many months? What's it say right there? Verse 5, how many months?
42.
42 months. Well, obviously these aren't Roman months. These are Hebrew months. So, if this is the year that Jesus returns and kills this dog, then he comes out of the sea 42 months prior, right? See, we always tried to look at this counting this away.
Right.
And one day the Lord said to me, you're counting it backwards. Write down Tampa, West Palm. How many launches have we seen? Hundreds. We used to go down to the jetties. We had a Volkswagen club. We would line all of Volkswagen's club up on the jetty. Where they dredge all the sand out of the harbor and they pump it up on the shore. They made this big giant ridge. We called it the jetty. We would all line the Volkswagens up on the top of that jetty to watch the shuttle launches. Did it every time. We'd stop work, take off, whatever we had to do. All right, so T minus 0 and counting, right? So this is what he told me to do so many years ago. So if he comes back at 0 years, so what year is 0 year? Take your best guess. I've got a friend in Cedar Grove. He thinks 28. I think we can safely say we're past that now. But I mean, everybody's got a favorite year. You pick your year, 2030, 2029, 2031, 32, 33. They're all over the board. But it doesn't matter what year that is. You pick a year. Now, if we're all here in 2035, we're going to keep having church, right?
Right.
We're not going to go, ha, ha, he was a liar. He's a prophet liar. So we're not going to church anymore. All right. Okay. Because we've been through that, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to do yard site for Herbert Armstrong today. He died 40 years ago yesterday. He's the originator of this movement. This wouldn't even exist without him. Or should I say, this is how Yeshua chose to do it, was through Mr. Armstrong. All right. So he predicted 72. Prior to that, he predicted in the 40s. He said Adolf Hitler was the Antichrist. And you know what? If we were living through the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression and Hitler's overrunning the whole world and Japan's doing the same, we'd have thought the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. So here we are in our time. My favorite year is 32. What if it's 33? So 42 months, Rekav is what I'm going to nickname this beast from Revelation 13, is going to be out and running wild. So you pick a year and you come back.
Mm-hmm.
These are Hebrew years. Some years have 13 months.
That's right.
These are Hebrew. You got to go to the Hebrew calendar. So I went to hebcal.com and I looked up several years. I looked up 30, 31, 32, and 33. This is July every single time. This is July every single time. All right. Daniel chapter 12. Sometimes you just got to see it on page. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to see it on the paper. Verse 11. Daniel 12. Who's talking here, by the way? Gabriel is talking. Can you trust Gabriel?
Yes.
I think we can trust Gabriel. I think we can all safely say that Gabriel is going to tell you straight. Amen. And he says, from the time that the daily sacrifice is abolished and the abomination that causes desolation is set up, there'll be 1,290 days. Okay. How do you count that? Do you count it from 0, or do you count it from the atonement when the devil goes in the pit? Anyway, you go back 1,290 days. This is longer, by the way, than 42 months. So some sorcerer is going to set this up before Rakab. I'm hoping this isn't Godzilla. I'm hoping that some sea monster doesn't come walking up for real. I'm hoping that that's allegorical and has to do with demonic entities released from the sea to do horrible things. That's what I'm hoping.
Through nations or through nations?
Through nations, through people. Okay. Yeah. So, we're going to get that in just a minute. All right, now look at the other part. Blessed is the one who waits for and reaches the end of 1,335 days. Now, this one's easier to figure. 1,335 days. This is how you can date the rescue. When are you blessed? When Yeshua's coronated king.
Right.
So you count back. So if this is trumpets of whatever year, this is Tishri 1. He's coordinated on first day of Feast of Sukkot. So first day of Tabernacles, we celebrate it every year. We rehearse the coronation. We do the big parade. Hallelujah, Hosanna, our king is ruling now, not going to come. He's here and we're installing him. I mean, you see that the Father installs him. If you flip back over here to Daniel 7, you can see that the Father installs him before he comes back. I mean, right before he comes back. Verse 13, Daniel 7, verse 13. In my vision at night I looked, and there before me was one like the Son of Man. That's Enosh, not Adam. Coming with the clouds of heaven. You know why that has to be that way, right? Son of Adam has sin in his blood. Mm-hmm. Son of Adam means you ain't going to save it. Son of Enosh is the righteous son that came after the Cain and Abel, right? Mm-hmm. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence, and he is given Malku, Yakar, and Shultan. So he is given authority, the kingly authority, Malku, Malek, and he is given Yakar, which means the wealth of the nations. It's translated glory here, but it means the wealth of the nations. And sovereign power, Shultan. Shultan is translated dominion everywhere else. Absolute dominion. All right. So this is where he's coronated. This takes place on trumpets. So this takes place at 0 here, and then he rolls out of heaven. So it's, we roll out of heaven into the clouds. The Father gives him Malku, Yachar, and Shultan, and then we come down here. Sword comes out of his mouth. Army slain. He's not playing. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. Done deal. And then here we come to Tishri 15. First day of Sukkot, coronation. You count back. If it's in 32, this is in the middle of January of 29. Any complaints?
Let not your travel be in the winter, right? Yeah, for Israel.
Any complaints if you get to take a little flight?
Let's go.
In January of 29? She's got a complaint. She's got a complaint. Well, ain't no such a lie about it. You're in church.
What do you mean?
You got a complaint. Your kids are AWOL.
Oh, that part, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now, we go up. Revelation 11. The two witnesses come down. Is this helping anybody?
Yes.
Revelation 11. I was given a reed like the measuring rod and was told, go measure the temple of God and the altar and count the worshipers. That's been going on, right? So I don't know if you want to pick September 23 of 2017 or you want to pick September 17 of 2023. You want to take the range in there. You want to take just the spot between those two dates. Those dates were special because in the Revelation sign of Revelation 12 verses 1 to 5, you had Jupiter, meaning the Israel, people of God, rotating in the womb of the Revelation sign for the 42 weeks of a human gestation coming out on trumpets. And then in 23, you had a comet that's named Child enter in and through the Revelation sign and come out. On trumpets. So you've had a couple of these happen, and then it wasn't lost on me that the numbers were reversed. Even if it is a Roman calendar, the numbers were reversed. September 23 of 2017 and September 17 of 2023. Something's up with that, right? So anyway, we go up and look what happens. Verse 2. Exclude the outer court, do not measure it, because it has been given to the Gentiles, and they're going to trample on it for the 42 months.
Right there.
Right? And I will give power to my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days. So we go up, they come down. 1,260 days. Those you got to count. Days are days, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's painstaking, but I mean, you have to do it. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that stand before the Lord of the earth. And then we know all the stuff that they do. So they're here prior. They're here. So somewhere in their term of office, the abomination of desolation is set up. They lock down the heavens. They do all this stuff. But they're not here for the wrath of God. They're not here for the wrath of God. Wrath of God is not a long period of time. And depending upon these things, that's the time difference. So you knock 15 off, and you got 1320, and 1320 from 1260 gives you 60 days for the wrath of God. And to be honest with you, that's probably all the people on earth can stand. 60 days of the wrath of God, man, it's going to be just jacked up in here.
Don't want to be here.
So this is basic timing that you're looking forward to. Now, what happens if we're here in February of 2029? We still come to church, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to go, oh, yeah, he's a prophet liar. I'm never going back there, man. That Hungry Hearts guy is crazy. No, we're just going to keep on having church because this is all speculative, highly speculative. We're not going to sell our stocks and bonds, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to sell our homes. Nobody's going to load up their stuff. They did that in 72.
Well, what would be the
Well, we were all supposed to go to the place of safety in Petra. So everybody sold their stuff and they loaded up and they went to church on the given day expecting that they were going to go to Petra. Not to mention you got a bunch of stuff you're supposed to fly. So how are you going to carry it on an airplane, right? I mean, none of it made sense, but that's what people did. And the church got discredited. And then he said, well, we made some miscalculations and it's...
88 reasons why the Lord's coming back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And you know what? Bill Cloud got saved in that. So
and it went on sale New Year's Day.
Yeah. And then he came back the next year, and people were asking me, you know about all that stuff. What does it all mean? And I said, just like this, you got the right day, Feast of Trumpets, but you got the wrong year. And in 88, I can say it this way. Germany has not been reunified yet, so therefore, it ain't here. All right, now let's go to Matthew 24. 88 reasons why the Lord's coming back in 88. and then he don't come back. But Bill Cloud got saved. Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
Little story. Little Bill Cloud story. Bill Cloud gets saved in 88 because he did not want to go through blah, blah, blah. 88 reasons why the Lord's coming back in 88. Well, his oldest son, was born in 87. No, his oldest son was born in 88. But we have birth class in 87. So our firstborn child was born in 88. Both of our children were born at West Volusia Memorial Hospital in DeLand, Florida. So we're going November, December, January to these birth classes. Didn't call them Lamaze class at that point. They changed it to birth class because they didn't actually follow every step in the Lamaze, you know what I mean. So we're going to birth class, and there's a guy walking in with a leather jacket and sunglasses. This in the middle of winter, and everything's dark and quiet, and we're in some room in the bottom of the hospital. I know who he was. I just thought, that's weird. We're a little proper worldwiders, you know. And so we go to birth class, and I think Brandon is born in the middle of January. Rain was born at the end. So years later, they come to one of our Hungry Hearts events, and we invited him in to speak. And I found myself staring at his wife, and it was making me uncomfortable, and I could see it's making her uncomfortable. But if I can't pull your name up, my subconscious is going to stare at you until it does. And I can't really stop it. I try to stop it, but my eyes are going to go back because you tell the name. So finally I went over there and I said, look, I'm not trying to be weird or anything, but I know you from somewhere.
Right.
And we got to talking, and
That's where
birth class, West Volusia Memorial. So our second children were also born there, but their youngest son, Nathan, is a year later than Kyra in the same month. So all of our children are born in the same months.
That's interesting.
And all at the same hospital.
It's really strange. There's a lot of parallels.
But we knew Brother Cloud before he got saved in birth class. And then we brought him to Jackson, Tennessee, of all places. From DeLand, Florida. We brought him to Jackson, Tennessee, of all places, to speak to us.
He still thought he was Elvis when we first saw him.
No, he did. And that was like, I don't
loves
know,
Elvis.
2002, I think.
I went with him to Sun's studio one time just for a little trip, you know, and he was just like, oh, Elvis.
Yeah.
And he played with a rock band too. I forget which one. Yeah, with the
Bill Cloud?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I didn't know that.
I know he sings well.
Yeah, and then Brad.
Okay.
He does play, because we spent the night at their house, and we were in the office. You won't believe this. We have the identical desk from Sam's Club. I'm not making that up. I walked in there.
It's so funny when things like
you
that
get the same
happen,
exact
yeah.
desk. All right.
It's really odd. It's really
All right. Now, Yeshua in Matthew 24, they ask him, how are we going to know? And he says this in verse 4, watch out, no one deceives you. Okay, watch out, no one deceives you. Man, I'm telling you what, I don't know. Well, I do know who's behind this, but I'm not going to say it on live TV. The amount of deception poured out into Sabbath-keeping churches to take them into every direction except right is the most unbelievable thing. You talk about the dragon spewing a river of water out right now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You take any heresy, and they're all being just flooded. The Sabbath zone is being flooded with the craziest stuff on earth. From we don't want to meet in church anymore, we'll just stay at home, to the flat earth. I saw some more stuff about that yesterday online. You name it, and the zone is being flooded with all of this heresy. People want to say anything and everybody's the beast, but you just read 7 heads. No human being's got 7 heads. How can a human being be the beast? A human being will be the Antichrist, but no human being will be the beast. Well, as deep research, 3 different editions of what comes next. You have to be the head of Germany to be the Antichrist. Literally, the Holy Roman Empire has got to be the king of Germany, accepted by the city of Rome. That's why. It's like I could never understand, why is Hitler going to Rome? What does he care? I mean, at that point, Mussolini had been beaten by everybody and was a failed dictator. Why are you going to Rome? It doesn't even make sense. Until you find out that you got to have the acclamation of the Roman people and be king of Germany. Now, I didn't write these rules. These are the Catholic Church rules for how the system is run in Europe. Okay, well, that's what the rules are. This is how the system is run. Hitler got the acclamation of the Roman people, which makes him a Holy Roman Emperor, whether they call it that or not. Oh, this goes deep. All right. So the deception is running wild right now. This one's the Antichrist. That one's the Antichrist. Oh, Donald Trump is the Antichrist. Barack Obama's the Antichrist. None of these are ruling Europe.
Right.
None of these are going to rule Europe. It's somebody ruling Europe. Now, when you get into that EU, right, European Union, that is your Antichrist beast system of governance.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Mark Carney's a big part of that, the Prime Minister of Canada? He's a big part of that. England's been sucked into it. Can Ephraim get out? I don't know. I've been having a running debate with some guys on Facebook for the last couple of weeks. They're talking about Trump is going to crash this and Trump is going to crash that. I'm like, they're ex-worldwiders, by the way. They know they're Ephraim. And I'm like, Ephraim's a silly dove. He's a K-calf turn. Foreigners sap his strength. He doesn't even know it. It's like they are so deceived against Donald Trump, they can't even see what's going on. I mean, the Islamists are raping their children in England, and they're not allowed to protest. You know, last night, Tusi TV had them showing them locking up Iranian protesters because they're protesting the Ayatollah. That's how far off Ephraim is. Literally, Uncle Sam, Manasseh, is the only place where there's sanity left. And look what they're trying to do here.
Not much left.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I could talk on these all day.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into Matthew. Watch out that no one deceives you. For many are going to come in my name claiming I'm the Christ. Now, there's one guy on Facebook. I don't want to quote him, not because I don't want to give him the credit. I don't want to misquote him because I didn't get to watch the film. But he seemed to be indicating that many in the Sabbath community are coming and saying Yeshua is the Messiah, and they're flooding the zone with these heresies. And I can't say that exactly because, again, I didn't watch the film. So he might have been saying just the opposite. I don't know. That's why I didn't want to use his name. But he came out there and seemed to be actually confronting this head on. There's a lot of deception in the Sabbath world right now.
That Yeshua is not the Messiah? Or
That Yeshua is the Messiah,
okay.
but the earth is flat. Yeshua is the Messiah, but no one can go to church anymore. We all have to meet in our own private homes. Yeshua is the Messiah, but we're never going to congregate for holy days. You see this stuff going on all over the place. Yeshua's Messiah, but if you don't say the Hebrew prayers this way, or you don't use this name, or you don't...
The names are real bad. That's got them fractured in hundreds of different ways.
And they had all kind of letters. So Yeshua's name is very simple. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Simple. People put all kind of letters in there now. All kind of letters in there now. That they call Yeshua Yahuwah. I don't know how you get that. There's no hay in there.
No. And the sheen is a sheen.
The sheen is a sheen. And the sheen ain't there. This might be a scene, but it ain't never a hay.
No, it's never a hay.
And then some want to say, some are adding an extra vav in there. They want to add an extra vav. I got an argument with one guy on Facebook. He said, well, the vav can be two vavs. Never. It's either a V or an O or an U, but it can't be the V and the O at the same time. But they're saying it can. Now they're adding now they're making it like this. This is never a W, by the way. No W in the Hebrew language, just because some people can't pronounce it.
How do you even say that?
Yahweh. I'm not making this up. It's on a lot of stuff. Look, and they say we can't spell in the South, right? They can't spell, period. All right. So there's deception. There's widespread deception. And then he says, you'll hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it you're not alarmed. All right, this is like daily on the news, right? Did we go into Iran yet? Did we do this yet? Are we bombing here? Is China going to invade? I mean, it's everywhere. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and you see that everywhere. Kingdom against kingdom. There'll be famines and earthquakes in various places. All right, so you got this one guy on astronomy, Stefan Byrne, talking about how all of these massive solar flares are the cause of all these earthquakes around the world. And he'll show you something, and then he'll even be able to predict on the fault lines based on where there's been an earthquake, where the next one's going to be. And it's kind of amazing to watch it. He's kind of a little weird, but he's been right.
Wow.
All these are the beginnings of birth pangs. So we have here a lot of things that are going to happen. There's going to be famines. There's going to be natural disasters. There's going to be radical deception, which we're seeing now. Look, and a lot of folks want to go to the Sunday churches, but I hate to say this, especially since you're filming me, but the Sunday churches ain't never been a part of that. We're looking for the great apostasy to happen in the Sunday churches. They ain't never been a part of this. This is always about the Sabbath church. If you're not in Sabbath church, you're not in church. You're not keeping the fourth commandment. And it turns out they like to break other ones. This is all about the people who are actually doing the stuff. All right, let's go to Revelation 6. And we got 6 seals. Six seals. You see why I type all the time. I can't read my own writing. And these are important. The first one is a rider on a horse, but he's got a bow, and he rides out to conquer. And he's bent on conquest. And in verse 3, the second one, seal, is a horse, a fiery red one. Its rider's given power to take peace from the earth and to make men slay each other. It's given a large sword. Number 5 is a third creature coming out. There's a black horse. Its rider's holding a pair of scales in his hand. I heard a voice saying, a quart of wheat for a day's wages and 3 quarts of barley for a day's wages, but do not damage the oil and the wine. And when the Lamb opened the fourth... He said, come, and there before me is a pale horse. Its rider's named Death, and the grave is following close behind him. They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beast of the earth. The wild beast here is just in Greek. It doesn't really translate, but we're going to go back to Daniel 7. So you see that there is a false religion. It wants to pretend it's like the Christ, but it's not the Christ. It's dressed in white. It's got the crown. It looks good on the outside, but Jesus has a sword, not a bow. The big difference there. So he said, many are going to come in my name, and they're going to tell you I'm the Messiah, but then they're going to feed you a bunch of lies. Yep. And for years, we laid that at the feet of the Catholic Church. And yes, they're guilty up to their eyeballs with this stuff. But now, through their proxies, they have flooded the Sabbath church with the same horse manure that they flooded the Sunday churches. Except since we won't budge on Shabbos, they're messing everything up. Mm-hmm. All right, the second one here you have is mass killing. Mass killing. And he said wars and rumors of wars, right? I mean, they're saying now, I don't know, there's no way to independently verify this, but they're saying that there's over 1 million deaths in Russia from this Ukraine war. They're also telling us that Ukraine is running out of men that can go to the front. They're taking old men and teenagers. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen if China goes in? China's already putting the propaganda out to their people that, excuse me while I go monk here for a second. Not even. China's already saying they're going to lose a million service people to take over Taiwan. That's a lot of people.
That's probably why they've lifted all their birth restrictions.
Yeah, because they're out of people. I mean, they've aborted everybody, and now the women right now in China do not want to have kids. Mm. There's no future for them with a man, so they're just famine. all over the globe. Matter of fact, that was our prayer thing for this month, was to pray against famine. I like to eat. Fat boy wants to eat. I don't want to see famine. I like being able to go to the buffet and, as we used to say back in the 70s, pig out. Not that we're doing unclean things by pigging out. We're just eating too much.
Eat like pigs.
Well,
Not eat pig.
now we have actually seen that. You brought that up, eat like pigs. So we used to clean clinics, and when they brought in the pork, that's exactly what the little kitchen area looked like. They were eating like pigs. It's all over everything. It's just tore up.
Sticky.
When they're eating chicken, everything's all nice and neat and clean. When they're eating pig, man, it's everywhere. It looked like they went in and went wild. And then 4 is widespread death. Now, we're going to relate these right now to the 4 beasts that come up, the Rav Kiva, because it says 1/4 of the earth are killed by these things and by the wild beast. Now, that word beast in Revelation is the Greek word therion, and it's used for every beast every time the word beast is used. So the beast of Revelation 13 is a therion.
Wow.
The beast of Revelation 17 is a therion. The wild beasts of the earth are a therion. So you have to figure out from the context what's going on. And for years, we used to equate the beast of Revelation 13 with the body of a leopard with the beast of Revelation 17 that doesn't have a description other than scarlet. So we used to say, oh, they're the same thing. We used to say that both of those were the same thing as the red dragon. Oh, see, it's the red dragon. But the dragon doesn't have the body of a leopard or feet of a bear. I don't care how you work that out. Nobody's eschatology does a dragon look like that. A dragon is a flying serpent every time you look that up. Now, the first beast in Daniel's vision, and I want to show you something about this before we get into the nature of the beast. Daniel 7, it says this in verse 2. The 4 winds of heaven were churning up the great sea. Now it says the Ruach. In Hebrew it says the Ruach. The great Ruach. The 4 Ruach. Okay, so is this the Spirit of God? Now in Genesis chapter 1, it says the Spirit of God was hovering over the deep, the Tehom. So is this when the Spirit of God pulls away and allows these 4 wild beasts to come out? They're called Kiva in Aramaic, which in English is spelled Cheeva. The Rav Kiva, the 4 great beasts. The first one is a lion. And the lion has wings, and it stands up, and the wings are torn off. It stands up, and it's given the heart of a man. Well, a man already has the heart of a man. He doesn't need the heart of a man. You follow? It would have to be a demonic entity that's given the heart of a man. I do think this has to do with the false religion and the deception, and I'll tell you why. 2 things. We used to equate this with the Babylonian Empire because of the winged lions on the Ishtar Gate that were found when they excavated Babylon back in the 1800s. Those gates, by the way, are in the Berlin Museum, because the Germans at the upper levels of society know they're the ancient Assyrians, and that's why they do so much archaeological work there. They're digging into their past. They want to find out what made them great as Assyria so they can be great as Germany.
And this is the wings on a leopard, you said?
Well, the lion.
The lion. Okay, isn't that on England's flag?
It's on everybody's flag.
Yeah.
It's on everybody's flag, and that's where I was going with that. So you see the Persian flag they're waving right now is a lion in the sun. But Peter said that Satan is a roaring lion seeking who he may devour.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I equate this with the deception, because everywhere there's the satanic deception, there's the symbol of a lion.
Yeah.
And that's why I wrote that whole section in what comes next about the tale of 2 lions, because Yeshua is the Lion of Judah, which is totally separate from the roaring lion seeking who he may devour. How does he devour? He doesn't eat anybody. He devours them with the deception. Mm-hmm. See, he's telling everybody, yes, Yeshua's Mashiach, but this is what you got to do. You got to take this left turn and go down this snake trail. You got to go down the snake hole.
It's always on the left.
It's always on the left. This is how we figured out how you can turn it up, by the way. You don't have to be cold. You can turn that up.
No, nobody else is cold.
Okay, because it's really cold on outside the room still. The second one is a bear. The second Rav Kiva is a bear. There's only 3 references to a bear in Scripture. It's a Hebrew word dab, and there's only 3 times. One of them is when, you'll love this, children, 42 children are mocking Elisha, and 2 bears come out and kill the 42 children. Interesting how the 42 is linked to the 42.
Is that the bald-headed story?
Yeah,
Okay.
they called him Baldy,
Yeah.
and 2 bears came out and mauled 42 children. But that's the bear is how you link this with Revelation chapter 6, and the rider on the red horse is given power to take peace from the earth and make men slay each other. The bear is told, rise and eat your fill of flesh.
Right there.
Well, one of the writers, I think it's Psalm 74, said, the wild animals, kaya in Hebrew, have devoured the flesh of your saints. Speaking of the collapse of Jerusalem. So this killing is how we link everything together. From Jesus' words in Matthew 24 to Revelation 6 to Daniel 7. It's the killing. This one's number 2 in all 3 cases. Deception leads to killing, brings on famine. But there's something about this right here that's different. This may not be a weather-related issue. In Daniel 7, he says this. In verse 6, after that I looked, and there before me was another kiva, one that looked like a leopard, and had on its back it had 4 wings like those of a bird, and this beast had 4 heads, and it was given authority to rule. So because of the 4 heads, everybody related that to Alexander the Great. Because his kingdom was divided, and it was divided into 4 pieces. Okay. I couldn't figure that out. It was before trumpets, and we're getting ready to, make our lists and come to Yeshua and do our stuff, and I couldn't figure it out. We were in Jackson that week, and I didn't have a place. The floor was kind of crowded, and I got up behind the podium. I got on the floor, and I'm like, Lord, I have so failed. You told me to finish this, and I cannot figure this out. He said, you're looking at it backwards. You're looking at it backwards. You see, you get taught one way so much, you can't see it any other way. You got to have a monk moment when you finally see the missing piece and where that, and then the whole thing. That word for authority is Shultan. The leopard is given Shultan, which normally is translated dominion, not authority. Malku is normally translated authority. This word is Shultan. It's always translated dominion. Yeshua will be given an everlasting dominion. Shultan. So I thought, okay, maybe that relates to the famine. And then I still couldn't figure it out. It still wasn't very clear to me, but I'm writing, I'm drafting it all up in the book. And I'm laying there in the bed one night, getting ready to go to sleep, and Lanice had already gone to sleep. And Tucker Carlson was on, and he was showing what they were doing in the Netherlands. The Netherlands, believe it or not, that little bitty tiny country produces a gigantic amount of food. It ain't a little bit. They feed half of Europe from the Netherlands. But the politicians have decided they don't want any agriculture in the Netherlands because it produces greenhouse gas. They don't want you to make fertilizer from natural gas. They don't want you to grow crops. They don't want you to have any beef cows because it produces flatulence, which is a worse greenhouse gas.
What nonsense.
It's crazy.
Sorry.
Then he goes from that, after commercial break, he goes to Ceylon. Sri Lanka, Ceylon. Well, their number 1 export was tea.
Makes sense.
I could beat somebody half to death for what they did to the price of my tea.
All right.
And it's not even as good.
It's not even as good. But what they did was they went all in green because the European Union forced them to. And so there's no fertilizer, there's no diesel, and he's showing this, and he's showing these people in the queues, because a lot of them are taxis for tourists, and they're in a 4-day line to get fuel for their little Cushman that they can carry tourists around on. And they show the lady, and she goes, I got just enough gas to cook this last meal, and after that we have no way to cook. And their little cooktop is right on top of the gas tank. I mean, I'm like, what a blow up bomb.
Right.
You're cooking right on top of the gas tank. And that's all they got. And it's over. And then I realized it's not famine from weather. It's famine from authority. It's famine from Shultan.
Yeah.
It's famine from Shultan. They did it in Ghana. They did it in Sri Lanka. They're trying to do it in the Netherlands. Biden was going to do it here. Y'all don't know this, but he had already banned the use of chemical fertilizer. If Trump had not been elected, we'd be in famine right now.
Wow.
And the farmers were going ballistic. Fox would interview them in the morning. Didn't give them nighttime, but they gave them morning time, and they said, you have no idea what the cost is going to go up.
Wow.
See, they want all this non-chemical fertilizer. But here's the problem. We're way past that now. We're way past that now. You might have could have done that back in 1920, but you can't do it in 2020. The only way to make that ground produce enough food for all of us to eat is you dump chemicals on there like you ain't never seen in your life. You better hope they still got Roundup Ready soybeans, because there won't be no soybeans if they're not Roundup Ready. Oh, that's genetic engineering, and we all gonna get over it, because that's the only way to make the ground produce anymore. See, here's what happens. You farm it with chemicals, you leach out the soil. You farm it with chemicals, you leach out the soil. You keep this up, you keep it up. It's been 100 years now. It's only going to produce with ever increasing amounts of chemical.
There's no Sabbath rest for the land.
There's no Sabbath rest for the land. I'll tell you something else. Plants that are weak and deficient attract bugs. Bugs are designed to eat the weak plants. The more you denature and rob the soil of what it needs, the more pests that are going to come. You better have Roundup Ready everything. I'll tell you something else about bad soil. Weeds want to grow in it.
Yeah.
It's bad. That's what weeds do. Weeds refurbish the soil. It's not just when you're in 7. After you've done this, what did God say? You're going to be in captivity so many years, so the land will have all of its Sabbath years you neglected.
Yes.
Because the longer it goes without the Sabbath years, the more Sabbath years it's got to catch up. So it takes the weeds a long time. Animals have to eat weeds. Weeds have to grow. This takes a long time to refer.
Yeah.
Famine from authority. Famine from authority. If the Democrats go back in power, you're going to have famine from authority right here. Everybody better pray for the Republicans to hold both houses of Congress in a bigger way after the midterms. I mean, big time. This is not play anymore. If just take, I know this will be nauseating, take an hour and go to the Democrat websites and watch what they're saying to themselves in private. These people absolutely want to destroy the United States of America. And for some reason, they think they're going to still be ruling when it crashes and burns. They need to ask Mussolini how that worked out for him.
Yeah.
All right, this one was a lot harder to figure out. Down here, see, in Revelation 6, he's just death in the grave. Now down this, it says in verse 7, after that in my vision at night I looked, and there before me was the fourth beast, terrifying and frightening and very powerful. It had large iron teeth that crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. It was different from all the former beasts and had 10 horns. All right, we had a hard time with that. Everybody used to say that those 10 horns were the 10 main tribes that overran the Roman Empire. Fourth beast is the Roman Empire, followed by its successor, the Holy Roman Empire. And they did bring their share of death. And it did tramp and crush down the residue and stamp its feet on it. Yeah, sort of. You know, the Jews were allowed to worship under the Roman system until they rebelled that last time. So not entirely exactly the way that's written in Daniel. But in Revelation 6, this is death and the grave follows. This was hard to figure out. Right now, we not only have the Sabbath zone being flooded with deception, you have a massive resurgence of paganism. Now, years ago, we used to meet at we affectionately termed the Ghetto Lodge. And it had an Indian owner. Everybody nicknamed him Mr. Miyagi. And yeah, I know, but that's what the workers called him, Mr. Miyagi. Anyway, they were big Hindus. I mean, I don't mean little bit Hindus. I mean, they were big Hindus. And they would talk to me about stuff. Because, I go in there and befriend everybody because, hey, I got to meet here and I need help. So he was telling me about how they rent river boats for just them. They rent the whole riverboat on the Mississippi River, and they would go out on the water and do their Hindu pagan rituals on our Mississippi River. That's a long time ago. That's like 08, 09. Did you know they're going to build a statue in North Carolina of some pagan Hindu deity that's going to be bigger than the Statue of Liberty? They've already started building it. Paganism is coming here. Where all of that stuff happened in North Carolina was the capital of witchcraft for the eastern United States. Asheville, North Carolina, the capital of witchcraft. Witchcraft is everywhere. The Burning Man thing, that is a wildly pagan thing. I know CNN tries to gloss it over, but no, if you do any research on it, it is wildly paganized there. They have more than 100,000 people. Now, they got washed out this last year. Remember, I was talking about it. First they had the wind that blew everything up, blew their tents apart, and then they had 2 days of soaking rain, and then they had mud that deep that wouldn't dry out. The whole thing was wrecked. But when they were interviewing these people, they were not shy about telling you their paganism. They got pagan stuff all over. I mean, real heavy pagan stuff all over. I mean, tatted up with all the symbols. Fornication tent. They had more than one. That was just one of them. That was the one on that little section. I mean, crazy pagan stuff going on in Arizona and North Carolina, and who knows where else. It was back in 06 that it was a Jackson Sun article for West Tennessee that said witches was the fastest growing religion in West Tennessee, where I'm from. So you have the paganism, and their witchcraft is fueling this killing. Just watch your little cops and look in the eyes of the perpetrators. They look buck wild crazy. And now it's in the leadership. I mean, who could plausibly deny that Joe Biden was absolutely demon possessed? Who could deny it? I mean, you look at his eyes, it's right there. And how about the people around him? How about Ilhan Omar or Jasmine Crockett? They openly look demon possessed. And they're doing demon crazy things. Famine from authority. We're going to come to this one. You can see the weakening. Mm-hmm. The weakening. This is wild speculation on my part. So I'm going to tell it to you like that. Wild speculation on my part. But I have seen enough evidence to have some basis for this wild speculation. My doctor does not disagree. So it tells me that it may be wild, but it ain't too wild. I think COVID was an engineered disease. And I saw the lady biotech engineer that Tucker Carlson interviewed. I saw all three of them the night they were aired. And she put the picture up of the genome and shows the splice marks. Mm-hmm. And this was early on in the pandemic. This was early. This is like 2020, 2021. Early in the pandemic. I think this was engineered to be a permanent fixture in your body. And as this evidence was presented, again, on responsible journalist sites, not just crazy sites, they began to point out that there are lots of viruses, like common colds and certain bacteria that we all had infections of as children, that permanently affix into your genome. There are already viruses and bacteria that affix in your genome. Chickenpox. And maybe that's how you build immunity. I'm not sure. God didn't tell me that. But I don't know, maybe that's something to do with building immunity, is that it fixes in your genome, and now your genome can
Right, if it triggers, then your immunity
manage
response.
the
Yeah.
disease. All right. I think COVID is a permanent fixture in our body now. I don't think I'm the only one that has recurring symptoms every so often.
No, you're not.
And I'll tell you how far it goes. One of the main doctors, I don't remember his name, he's been testifying on Capitol Hill recently. He and another one, it's not Mac McCarry and it's not Jay Bhattacharya, but it's another guy that was working with them. He's been advertising on TV this particular supplement to detoxify from the COVID vaccine. And it has all the stuff that we've all talked about in private, you know, the nattokinase and the bromelains and all that stuff. So they've been talking about the NAC, been talking about, they're advertising this mixture that they put together to detoxify from the vaccine. I think, and this just came to me yesterday, I think what the Chinese have done in cahoots with these people from the U.S. is to create in us what they called in Jurassic Park the lysine contingency. Remember, in Jurassic Park, all the dinosaurs were bred to be lysine deficient, and they had to add lysine to their food or else they would die. And so you remember the Australian guy in the very first Jurassic Park, he said we need to use the lysine contingency and basically kill all the animals by denying them lysine. Of course, that takes a long time, but either way. I think what they've done is they've bred a weakness into us that if we don't get certain things to be able to fight off the COVID, it will come back eventually strong enough to kill everybody in America.
Not only that, I think it opens it up for demons.
I'm not sure about that.
I saw that in my niece. She got all the vaccines and all the updates.
I'm not denying it.
She's turned 180 in her personality.
I wouldn't doubt it. I'm not denying it. I just don't have found that link.
I hope not, because I had them.
But here's the thing. Making that spike protein brings back childhood diseases. And I've had to fight a couple of them back. Can it be that our immune systems have been weakened from COVID and the aftermath so that these things will lead to mass death? What about when they get rid of diesel fuel? You know, you ain't got no electricity in that hospital. There ain't a whole lot they can do for you.
No.
All medications are made in China.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just say we're able to bring them back to America. They're still made out of natural gas. If we're going to cut off the natural gas, which is what Biden was trying to do to kill the fertilizer, cut off natural gas. If there's no natural gas, they're not making any molecules. No molecules, no medicine. No water, no medicine. No diesel backup generators, no electricity. They're already they already cut back electricity to the point now where in order for us to move into the 21st century technologies, these data centers have to build their own power plants because the grid won't handle it. And here we're under TVA, so we don't notice a thing because we're in like God's country, blessed beyond measure. But you go to New York or New Jersey where they've been killing off their power plants with state regulation for decades. Their electricity rates are ridiculous in comparison to ours. I mean, New York cut off almost all of its power. California's cut off almost all of its power. California now just got rid of their last gas refinery. Valero's closing. Chevron's closing. All gasoline is going to have to come on a boat from somewhere else. They're going to be looking at $10 gas. But that was the plan.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
The plan was to make you not have fossil fuels. They do not have a replacement. They've been lying the whole time. There's no way that solar, if you paid the whole country in solar panels, it wouldn't run LA. There's no wind. I mean, look at how they're falling apart. I mean, this technology is antiquated. You know, Barack Obama talked about this in one of his inaugurations, and the next day Rush Limbaugh was saying that'd be a great speech if this was 1500.
Right.
High-speed rail and windmills. This ain't 1500. Everything runs on petroleum.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. And if Biden had been reelected, or Kamala, this whole thing would come crashing down, because without water, without sewer, without electricity, without medicine, there will be mass death,
Oh, man.
because they've already seeded the stuff into our bodies now that we're dependent on outside stuff. So what did he tell you to do? Luke 21. He told us to do something. Actually, he told us a couple things. Now, you know where you see where Luke 21 is situated, right? It's right before Luke 22. It seems obvious, kind of funny, right? But Luke 22 is the Passover. I've eagerly desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. So this is right here. This is right here. Luke 22 and verse 25. There'll be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. We're seeing that. On earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. It's going on. Men will be faint from terror, apprehensive of what's coming on in the world, for the heavenly bodies will be shaken. There was talk of that with 3-eye Atlas, Luke 21, verse 26.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, but anyway, I'll talk about it later.
At that time, they'll see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory, the rescue. When these things begin to take place, stand up, lift up your heads, because you know your redemption is drawing near. Because he said it in verse 26 there. Verse 27. He said, when you see that, lift up your head, because your redemption draws nigh, because I'm about to come in. You're going to see my sign in heaven. I'm coming to get you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Lord.
Or maybe an alternate thing is, we saw the Revelation sign in verse 27, so lift up your head. You know it's at the door. Right? We saw the Revelation sign. It runs. Do you realize there's going to be a massive blood moon on Purim?
Wow.
Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
I shared it up on Facebook.
Wow.
March 3rd, which is Purim, there's going to be a massive blood moon for an hour. Yeah, again. Now come on down here to verse 34. Be careful, or your hearts will be weighed down with dissipation. I don't know why they use that word. No one uses that word. This is the NIV. Who uses dissipation?
Mine says carousing and drunkenness.
Yeah, I know, but dissipation is a different word. So no one says dissipate that sugar in your tea. Because I used to wonder, what's dissipation? Dissipate. See, there is the carousing and the drunkenness that follows the word dissipate. Dissipate means to dilute. Don't let it goes back here to the deception, right?
Mine says dull.
Don't let yourself get diluted with the junk in the world, the junk in your life, the drama, the goodies. Don't let your walk get diluted. This is the time to concentrate on what's important, because the rest of this is about to be very unimportant very fast. Drunkenness, obviously it's there. Anxieties of life. Look, we all have anxieties of life, but he's telling you, don't let them preoccupy your life. The anxieties are going to be there. It's not a time to say the Lord's not going to come. He's pushed off his coming. I'm going to get drunk. You want to do either one of those things, or that day close on you unexpectedly, because it's just going to happen on all those who live on the face of the earth. But then he says this, be on the watch. I know people now won't even want to look at the news. It's like, well, if you don't look at the news, how do you know what's going on? If you don't see how your friends out here are being affected, how are you going to know how bad it is? You got to watch. It's why he says watch. And pray. Watch and pray. Not watch or pray. Watch and pray. And what does he tell you to pray? That you may be able to escape. Now, I like the way the King James puts the last phrase, and that you be accounted worthy. And the reason I like the accounting is because it leads you back to Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 10, where it says he's going to sum up all things in heaven and on earth under the head, Yeshua Messiah. So this is the time to get excited. Not look at all these bad things are happening, because of a certainty they are happening. So when you go home, will we be bombing Iraq, or is it going to be tomorrow or next week? Just depends when the carriers get in place, I guess. But you know how John McCain put it: bomb, 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 Iraq. Iran. I'm sorry, Iran. Anyway, that's a little prophecy, a little something to let you chew on for the weekend. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks. I hope all of y'all are coming here, Miss Steve, next week. She's a great lady. She works hard. She has written a lot for the magazine and the World Record.